This time on Monkey Life, the grand opening of the new orang enclosure. But young Kai loses his nerve.
It is an awful, big, daunting new change, and he is only a young lad.
A friend at last for new boy Tao.
Having not grown up with other Capuchins, it's hard to know how much Tao will want that sort of social interaction.
And a sticky situation at the chimp nursery when Bryan steals Ash's jelly.
If there's any left over, I'll have it, because I love jelly as well.
Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
The monkey's got really aggressive and has started self-mutilating.
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes from 17 different species. For the last 6 weeks, Gordon and Tuan's groups of orangs have had to stay inside because their outdoor enclosure is being renovated. Until now, they've had to share an outdoor space, which has meant using it on alternate days. But now, it's been split in two.
We're dividing the enclosure so that both groups can go out every day, so it's a really exciting time. It's something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and now it's all coming together.
It's been a massive undertaking, but the work is almost finished and the orangs can't wait to get out. They've been keeping a close eye on the progress from the sidelines.
They've obviously been watching to a certain extent because they have an outside tunnel that runs along their enclosure, so they've been watching everybody busy.
Orangs are native to the islands of Borneo and Sumatra in Southeast Asia, and in the wild, they spend most of their time in the trees. They can't do this at the park, but the team are trying to give them the next best thing.
We're using the same basic concept that we've used for our other outside enclosures, and that's telegraph poles with platforms and some shelters. But we wanted to try and make it a little bit more complex than we've done before. We thought about orangutans and the way that they move in the forest. Orangutans are arboreal, which means that they spend the majority of their time up in the canopy. So we want to put as much hosing up as possible so that each structure is linked to the nearby structures, and then they can choose the way in which they move about and hopefully encourage them to be up as much as possible.
It's looking good, it's exciting.
There are 85 Capuchins at the park living in 3 large groups. These monkeys are naturally social animals and enjoy company. They groom each other to strengthen bonds and develop friendships. Tao was recently rescued from Slovenia, where he'd led a very lonely existence as a pet. Since arriving at the park, staff have kept him apart from the others to give him a chance to get used to his new surroundings and to allow him to build up his strength. But now, it's time for him to start making friends.
Tao, over the last month, has been sort of recuperating, gaining a bit of weight and a bit of condition. And we wanted to do this to allow him to build up a bit of confidence as well as a bit of condition, because the introductions at the boys will be could potentially be quite a stressful time. So we wanted him to have a bit more strength and be able to cope a lot better. But this is a perfect time. He has put on some weight since he's come. He's filled out. His face looks a lot bigger, so the signs are looking good, and that now is the right time for him.
Tao is 6 years old and has never really known other Capuchins, so this is a big moment for him. He's moving into the boys' lodge, where eventually he'll be able to climb trees and forage just like the others. Most of these Capuchins came from a lab in Chile, so they too had to adapt to a more natural way of life. The arrival of the new boy has caused a lot of interest, but staff have decided to introduce him to just one of them today. Tao is released into a bedroom. CCTV cameras have recently been installed here, which will allow staff to monitor the Capuchins without interfering.
They're just there for our own interest, but also as a valuable tool for us to assess how things are going.
Once Tao has settled, Capuchin Diaz is let through to join him.
We chose Diaz as he's quite a sort of friendly Capuchin. He is quite low-ranking in the group, but this has actually meant he's got quite a nice, calm personality at the moment, and we thought this would be quite nice for Tao, not to obviously put someone in there that's going to cause too much problems early on.
Diaz is curious and reaches up to Tao, who seems fascinated with Diaz's hands.
Being a pet-trade animal, it's hard to know how much Tao will want that sort of social interaction, having not grown up with other Capuchins. It'll be interesting to see.
But Tao is remarkably relaxed and joins Diaz on the window ledge.
We've had lots of the other boys actually looking through the window from the small outside enclosure, so there's been lots of interaction.
Without any humans around, Tao seems keen to make friends with Diaz.
Tao initially started grooming his own foot and then tentatively moved over to Diaz, and we actually saw his first grooming session. So yeah, we were absolutely thrilled that he was picking up some grooming behaviour so early on. We couldn't have asked for a better first day, really. Diaz has been really good. He's leaving Tao to it a lot of the time, so any interaction is coming from Tao, which I think is a lot better than having someone who's sort of right in your face trying to get to know you. You know, I mean, for an animal that's not used to that much social interaction, it is good for it to come on his terms. We are keeping a close eye on both boys throughout the day. We'll keep them together overnight, and then over the next few days we'll start adding a few more friendly faces in.
The first of the new orang enclosures is finished at last and ready for the ultimate test. Orangs are highly intelligent, and the team have to make sure that everything is watertight before they let them loose. If there's a way out, they'll find it. Alison and Animal Director Jeremy head down for one final check.
Yeah, they're all countersunk, but they're all squeezed
I thought they
in.
were changing them or something.
Yeah, they did change them because the other ones had a little step on them.
Yeah.
Readdressed the bottom bit last night and put some
Welds on.
Yeah, got some welds on it.
The orangs are by far the most intelligent species of primate that we keep here at the park, so they test everything. If there's a loose nut or bolt anywhere in this entire complex, Amy will find it, the others will find it. So, no, they're going to put us to the test. You know, we've made sure that all of the climbing frame is far enough away from the overhangs and fences so that they, can't get over and out. Everybody from maintenance to groundsmen to primate care staff have just all joined up together to build, I believe, probably one of the best orangutan complexes and outdoor environments in captivity for our guys. Ready? Let's go.
Gordon's group are going to try the enclosure first. But after so long inside, the team are expecting them to be wary. Leader Gordon cautiously ventures out. But stepson Kai hangs back.
Okay, good boy.
With a little encouragement, he does take a few more steps. Kai's mum, Xiao Kuai, along with baby Jin, seems to like the look of the new climbing frame. But it's all a bit too much for Kai, who heads back to the tunnel. While Gordon climbs up, Kai climbs back in. Gordon is starting to explore. He was born at the park and had to be hand-reared because his mother, Amy, wouldn't care for him. But at 14 years old, he's now the dominant male in this group. Xiao Kuai has climbed to the top. She's fearless, despite having baby Jin clinging onto her. Kai plucks up the courage to try again.
You know, it is an awful, big, daunting new change, and he is only a young lad. So it was sort of fair enough that he took his time and actually watched his mum. In the wild, orangutans stay with their mothers for up to, say, 7 years. And that's just learning everything they need to know about their lives, what to eat, where to go, how to build nests, all of those kinds of things. So Kai standing back and then taking his time and following on is actually the natural way of things because, you know, he would still be quite dependent upon following his mother. It's just brilliant to see them outside and doing what we had hoped they would do. They've come out, they've gone straight to the climbing frame, and they've not come down again. It's just constant activity, exploring everything, going up, down, through, in, out. You notice already I've seen Xiao Kuai actually brachiating, swinging from arm to arm. Mainly they're doing that thing that they do walking through the trees. So the body is mostly kept upright. You might tilt sideways, but they're using all 4 limbs, walking through the complex houses and everything. So for the youngsters growing up, you can get a better education than if you were in the trees.
However, it's not long before the orangs start to put the workmanship to the test. Gordon has managed to dismantle one of the hoses, while Xiao Kuai begins to test the boundaries. Wise beyond his years, Gordon decides to trade the hose for something a little tastier. The team will have some repair work to do before they give Tuan's group a chance to go in the enclosure. Monkey World is predominantly a rescue centre, but it does breed a handful of species as part of international breeding programmes. Among them are golden-cheeked gibbons. Peanut and her partner Peng Yo have been particularly successful. They have 2 children, 5-year-old Tian and 2-year-old Tia Nang.
They're kids that are just full of energy. They have a lot of fun. You see them most days out in the trees, just wild acrobatics. They're actually quite scary to watch, some of the leaps that they take, just huge jumps through the trees. They are extremely fast and do have a lot of fun playing together.
As with all gibbons, Peanut's family are very close-knit, and staff are pretty sure there may soon be a new addition.
Over the last few months, we've noticed quite a few behavioural and physical changes in Peanut and the other family members, which indicate that she is in the latter stages of pregnancy. For example, physically, she is obviously looking a little bit on the large side with her stomach. Behavioural-wise, it's actually how she's treating Tia Nang that gives us that indication that she is also pregnant. Recently, Mum's refusing to actually carry her at all and has also stopped letting her suckle. It's a natural weaning process that they can't have a 2 or 3-year-old child and a newborn baby on them at the same time. They need to give all that attention to the newborn. And it is very natural for that infant to then move on and spend a lot more time with their dad or other family members. Peanut has already given us 2 fantastic kids, so another one is just an added bonus.
Orangutans and woolly monkeys are the other 2 species the park actively breeds. And over at Owaska's house, there's been some exciting news. Lena has had her baby, and staff have finally worked out who the father is. There had been 2 possibilities, Owaska himself or Bueno, who Lena had been living with before Owaska arrived from Basel Zoo in Switzerland last year.
Owaska is the baby's dad, and that's exactly what we wanted. Oski was caught from the wild when he was a baby, so he's purebred and he has no relatives in captivity, and it means that Lena's baby in future will be able to breed with many more individuals and keep the gene pool much more diverse in captivity. Lena's doing fantastically, the baby's really healthy, really active. It's Lena's first child, but she's doing brilliantly. We believe it's a little boy. He's behaving really, really well and everybody's taking care of him.
At the new orang enclosure, Jeremy and the team are busy tightening up nuts and bolts. After Gordon's performance earlier in the day, when he managed to dismantle one of the hoses, they're not taking any chances.
Who put these up? Who?
I'm not going to dump someone in it because I don't know who it was.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tell you what, remind me not to let you guys work on my car.
And while the primate care staff put out fresh browse, Alison does another check of the perimeter fence to make sure Xiaoquai's tunnels are all filled in. Like Gordon's group, Tuan and his gang have also been shut up inside during the building work. It'll be a couple of weeks until the second enclosure is finished, so staff have decided to let Tuan's group test this one out too. As soon as the slides open, Tuan comes out to have a look at what's been going on. Quickly followed by Amy. Lucky and Roro are being more cautious. They want to see how the other two get on first. Tuan's already testing out the hoses, but looks back to see where the girls are. Roro has decided to give it a go, and Lucky nervously follows her lead.
Tuan got out there, first out, straight up onto the climbing frame and mid-level, not all the way to the top. You know, in the wild, the females can go out to the tops of the trees and on the ends of branches, whereas males, their weight is just too big, so they can't. Seeing Tuan roaming around mid-canopy height, if you will, in the enclosure is about what he would be doing in the wild. But if you know Tuan, his hands aren't in very good shape, something from his past, but it does slow him down a little bit. Having said that, the exercise that he's going to be getting out here will almost be like physiotherapy. He's going to have to be grabbing and using those hands a lot more.
Tuan is keen to see how the neighbouring enclosure is progressing. Lucky is into the swing of things now. She came from Taiwan after being smuggled from the wild. Just like Roro, who's discovered she has a head for heights.
Lucky and Roro, who are two really lithe catwalk orangutans, a little bit thoughtful about it, slow coming out, but then when they got out here, investigating everything, and Roro, cargo net lady. It just makes my stomach go into my throat because that's very high up and she's swinging off the outside of the cargo net, no problems.
Amy, however, is happy to stay at ground level.
I don't think that she's even lifted 1 foot up off the ground yet. But then, you know, Amy's been hand-reared all of her life and is used to sort of new things happening. So I think it's more a point of honor. I'll just stick down here, clear up all of the breakfast, and when I can be bothered, I might go up high.
The new enclosure will hopefully encourage the rather sedate orangs to take more exercise, but there will be other benefits.
The whole enclosure design has social impacts, and already I've been noticing Tuan going around looking at all of the ladies, but there's so many different places they can go to and places they can escape. It's going to be tough work for the old boy to catch up with them now. So the few weeks that they've had indoors where Tuan's had the ladies at his beck and call, those days I'm afraid are over, and he's have to work a little bit harder to impress the ladies now.
The orangs aren't the only ones who've been shut inside recently. Sally and the gang at the chimp nursery have been confined indoors too. But Jeremy has prepared a sticky treat to make up for it.
Today we've got the big jelly fruit treat, but also it's an exciting day for them because the maintenance work that was done on the enclosure yesterday, they spent all day inside. It's going to be their first day out for 2 days as well, so they hopefully are going to be pretty excited. It'll be a case of eating some and wearing the rest, and probably the containers that it's in is more interesting than the jelly. And if there's any left over, I'll have it because I love jelly as well.
Lulu, Bryan and Sally are all keen to get some fresh air. But Bryan backs off when he spots the giant jellies. His cries attract the others. The strange invaders seem to be causing quite a stir. Foster mum Sally has a sniff. And Ash is curious too. Mischievous Rodders is more interested in his ball, which has got stuck in the sticky stuff. None of them seem to want to get their hands dirty, and Sally's decided she's only interested in the fruit. Ash has worked out a way of getting to the jelly without getting messy. While second in command, Lulu has more refined table manners. Ash is now tucking in, but Bryan has other plans and steals the bucket from under her nose. Being bigger and stronger than Ash, he manages to make his escape. And despite Ash's pleas, he has no intention of sharing. The buckets are giving young rodders no end of fun. But as with all party food, Sally eventually realises you can have too much of a good thing.